Hi there.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Just okay?
Well, my sister's with my parents right now. My father fell down again and he's
Oh,
100 and
oh.
arranging aids and stuff. He and my mom are still together. She's 97. So they're cognitively okay, but physically on a decline. So
My mother's in the same place.
it's hard. I think my mother feels this too. She doesn't want to be dead. She doesn't want to be gone, but life is really hard. You know, taking a shower, getting dressed, it's hard. And um I don't want to see them decline anymore. I want to be on the other side. I don't want them to be gone, but I don't want to go through this.
So the way you have to look at this is it's a process.
I know.
So letting go of life is a process.
My mother has a crazy sense of humor. She used to tell my dad, we need to be hit by a big truck, And so one time
How old is she?
she's 97.
Uh,
Yeah, they've been together 75
uh,
years,
so
76 years,
so
something.
they'll probably go close together.
Oh yeah, if he's gone, she'll go. Yeah. He wouldn't survive without her either. Emotionally there. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Um,
I mean, after all those years, you're like one. You move together,
mhm.
So let me just check with Catherine and see
Okay.
she's forgotten because we just had that call, right?
And nobody joined after yesterday else to this.
No,
That's too bad.
the guy, well, maybe it's not. If you know what I mean, I'll tell you in a minute. Hang on. All right.
Okay.
Coming to,
I did get the email this time.
well, it's because I sent it from my Gmail. I didn't send it from my customer service platform.
I don't know why that's not working, but it's so frustrating when it does that.
I've got to get the, see, I got to get the
I'm
link.
flexible on time. I don't know how you are, but I'm okay.
Yeah, I've got a client right after. So
Okay.
let's see. Becca, this is the one. Yeah. Uh, that's not the one. That's not the one. Hmm. All right. Golly, I sent like 10 emails already today. Um, and- so- Ah, there it is. Okay. All right. Sneeze. All right. Hang on one second.
Yep.
Phew.
Bless you.
Thank you.
I was going to say just one.
Oh boy.
Bless you.
All right. Speaking of things, we're talking about getting old. I'm not getting old, but there are certain functions that are, when I sneeze, there, there's,
There's the third one.
oh,
Nope.
yeah, false alarm.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, there she is. Hang on one second.
Yep.
I have tissues in my car, but not in here.
Oh dear.
Hi, Catherine. I was worried that I scared you with talk of shadow work.
She's muted. You're muted.
Thank
There
you.
she is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm ready to dig into it.
All
Yeah,
right.
there's a lot of things about me that I don't like that I'm sure hold me back.
All right. So I'm going to share myself. So it's easier, I think, when you got somebody to go before you, right? Break the ice. So I will say when I was a child in school, Chris, there's lots of trauma in the home. And then I'd go to school and, try to be the best little girl I could be. And I constantly got report cards, can do better, not trying hard enough. Um, and that was the story of my life. Well, fast forward to where I'm at today, I have ADD. Yes, I'm an empath. However, I have dyslexia. What else do I have? Well, for the longest time, I was very insecure. Felt like I wasn't good enough. When I look back, I was like, I was a good looking kid, but I was so insecure. So this is what I've worked with models. That the most beautiful woman with a perfect, what we would consider a perfect body, and they're so darn insecure. So
Right,
it has nothing to do with how we look. It's more how we perceive ourselves. Um, so I felt like, you know, over time, my ass is too fat, my belly's too big. It's the focus on what we don't have, with the eyes on the horizon of what society tells us is what we should be, right? Um, so today, um, I do feel good enough. I'm quite happy. It doesn't matter what other people think. In fact, my kids right now think I'm a piece of shit, and I'm okay with that because I know I'm not. I know who I am, and that's the key. Is when you know who you are and you love yourself and you know you did the best thing that you could do. It's like my kids are going through whatever they're going through. Um, and I did a presentation. The caveat to that is I did a presentation about a month ago, I think it was around February 12th, about the septimal cycles, there's 7 cycles in our life. There's 7 cycles in the year. There's a lot of programs and patterns that repeat. And so when kids are in there between the 35, 40 age range, it's called the destructive phase. Often people go through a divorce at that time. They start to look at their parents under a magnifying glass and, oh, you did this to me, and they blame you. So that's where my oldest son is at the two oldest are in that. So, I'm not fighting with what is. That's the thing. You can't change anybody else. So the key is to be happy with who we are as we are,
mm-hmm,
rather than, well, I want to cut this part off because I don't like it. It doesn't smell so good. It's not perfect. I am dyslexic. I do have ADD. I have an ADD coach, a neurodivergent coach to help me. And so you can ask me questions about any of what I've just said, but those are the shadow parts of myself. There's one other, and this is what my coach has pointed out to me because he witnessed as I was going through the heartbreak of my kids. As my oldest brother would say, they put me on ignore. So they put me on ignore. I wasn't allowed to see my grandkids, and
wow,
um, that was what gave me permission to move to California. I wanted to come back, but I felt like, well, I can't leave them. Yes, I can. I'm 70 years old. When am I going to live for myself? My
yeah,
kids
I've
are
been
all
going
grown.
through
It's
that
not like,
too.
right? They're not 6 and 8, they're 43 and 41,
Yeah,
what?
and they've gone through your divorces too, right?
Yeah.
Too, you know, for yeah.
Well,
So
they didn't witness the first one. That was even before I turned 21. I was divorced. Yeah. Yeah. So I had a pattern of running away. That was it. However, from a narcissist and then attracting narcissists three in a row. Okay, so who would like to go next?
Want to flip a
Becca,
coin?
Becca, you go.
I'll go. Okay. Well, I don't really know where to start. I mean, I can do what you did and start. I was a quick little kid. Whether I had ADD or not, I don't know. Um,
What do you mean by quick little kid?
I was small and I moved fast and I talked fast and I did
Oh,
my work fast. And my mother, I found a few report cards. I have one. This will, I'm 69, tells you how old I am. One of them said that I would finish my work and straighten the bow tie of the boy behind me and fix the girl's hair bow in front of me. And, you know, so I was quick. I had a good self-image, I think. I was a middle child, older
so,
sister.
so when you were quick, did you do your work well, or did you just race through it?
I did my work well. I love math. I love reading. I hate writing.
Mm.
Um, but my outlook was happy.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think the world, my mom said she wished she had taught us the world wasn't fair. I thought the world was fair and good.
Well, we learned that.
My little brother is 6 years younger than him, so I was pretty firmly me by that time. My mother was my Girl Scout leader. That was always a pain because she didn't give me any favors. So she was a
Mhm,
little harder on me, maybe.
mhm.
Um, when I hit junior high, I had glasses. And so I wasn't in the in crowd, but I knew it was because of my glasses. I knew it had nothing to do with me. So, that was just the way it was. I had good friends. Um, but let's see. So high school, I always liked psychology and getting
We're
into people.
talking shadow work,
I
Becca.
know. I'm trying to figure. I always dated guys who needed help, so I was the strong one. And
Did
I
you
almost,
did you try to fix them?
yes,
Oh,
always,
oh, you were a fixer. Okay.
I guess. And then I was with somebody for 4 years before in college, and we were going to get married, and I actually broke that off. Got engaged at Christmas and broke it off at spring break. And that was really hard, but I was really proud of myself for doing that.
And
Um,
why did you break it off?
well, he cheated on me twice, but
Okay. Okay.
I remember looking at my ring and thinking, "Oh God, we got to tell our parents now." And I remember feeling like I wasn't ready to be married.
Good.
It was a,
You knew yourself.
it was very traumatic for me. Well, him too, but you know, um, and then I stopped dating puppy dogs. I stopped dating the ones that needed me. Started only dating guys that would take care of me. And then I gained a bunch of weight. And I was always a tiny kid, gained weight in college, freshman 15, but then I just kept gaining weight. Um,
What
then
did you attribute that to?
I, I like food. I like to eat. I don't like
Well,
to exercise.
you're not being honest with yourself.
I know. I know. I don't know exactly why.
So
There's no
wait.
sexual abuse that everybody always asks for that and blah, 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 but
Okay, what are you hiding from?
responsibility,
What kind?
everything, everything. I was always the responsible middle kid. And as an adult now, at this age that I'm at, I am so tired. And I started with chemical depression probably in college that I didn't know. It didn't get diagnosed until I was a year married and 27. Um, so I've been on antidepressants for 42 years, married for 42 years.
Okay, hold.
Yep,
Have the antidepressants healed your depression?
they did several times.
So then why are you still on it?
It just keeps coming back. It keeps coming back. And I've
So,
done, I
uh,
had to get off of them for my sons
let
to
me
be
ask you,
pregnant. Go ahead.
I want to ask you again. Did the antidepressants heal your depression?
Yes,
Then why are you still on antidepressants?
because it came back.
They didn't heal your depression, in other words.
I guess not. Always felt like it was healed.
They're Band-Aids, Rebecca.
Okay. Okay. The,
Antidepressants don't heal or fix. They just gloss over. It's like stuffing emotions in a hole.
okay. Well, I've also done years of therapy, and the last time to get rid of my depression, I did the magnetic therapy, which was interesting. Actually, I've done it 3 times now, and that seems to help too. But that only lasts 9 months to a year as well. And then I have no motivation and I can't get anything done and I can't focus and I can't, you know,
So, do you know where depression comes from?
no.
So, no doctor in the 42 years has ever told you.
They unresolved issues, but it's also what they tell me because they prescribe me medication is it's the imbalance of the serotonin.
Which is caused by
I don't know. I have diabetes too, so now, but
5-HTP would fix the chemical issue. And a doctor, if a doctor knew his stuff, would tell you, take this, it will help to fix the chemical issue. Rather
okay,
than keeping you on antidepressants for 42 years that have affected your whole body chemistry.
right.
So,
I
so,
mean, there's been periods where I wasn't on them, because I had to get off of them for,
yeah.
a year and a half, 2 years for each of my sons.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, did you have postpartum depression too?
no,
Really?
no, and had no that my doctor was really worried about that. I
Yeah.
had no depression when I was pregnant, and when I was nursing, as my period would come back, it would start coming back. So for
Um,
a while, when I was younger, they had me on the 10 weeks of birth control pills.
uh-huh.
Jamie, can you not be in this room? Thank you. Sorry, my husband's home. Um, so they put me on that because I would go down every month, but it was never the normal. It was the wrong time. It was always the wrong time that I was depressed. It was after my period.
Okay.
I
So
never got PMS. It was always it was,
I got you. I
yeah,
got you. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay. So, do you know what makes you happy?
no, not anymore.
I want you to take a moment. You didn't take a moment.
Okay.
Close your eyes.
What makes me happy? Connect. Huh,
When are you happy?
when am I happy? I'm happy. I'm happy well, I used to be happy when I was reading. I'm not reading that much anymore because reading would take me away into a
Oh,
fantasy.
okay. Oh, okay.
Does that
So
tell you something?
yes, yes. Okay. Yep, it does.
And the other time I'm happy when I'm dancing. And
Okay.
sometimes I'm happy when I'm connecting with my friends.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Right now I'm not in a really good place, so it's harder to.
Okay. All right. I want to just ask you, and thank you for sharing all of that with us. How did all of that feel to share?
It hurts. Sad.
Do you feel sad for yourself, like almost like you're a separate person? You feel sad for that person that's sharing, or do you feel
I feel sad.
okay?
I
Okay.
feel it in my body.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I was just checking in because sometimes we disassociate. When we disassociate, it's almost like we're seeing another person over there.
One of the reasons I started going to you Wealth was I wanted more connection with spirit and I wanted to get my joy, the sparkly, shiny Becca back, which I have been, but I'm not there. and I know what it feels like, and I want to be there again, and
Yeah.
I
Okay.
I I'm stuck.
Oh, oh, can you rephrase that?
I allow things around me to pull me down.
I was stuck. I
I
have been
was
stuck.
stuck. I have been stuck.
Okay. Rather than bringing it into the present, I was wanting you to rephrase it.
I
Okay.
know it's just hard right now.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think you did very well. Thank you for sharing. Are you complete for the moment so that Catherine can share?
Oh, with what I'm saying, yes.
Yeah.
I thought you meant am I complete? No,
Oh.
I'm broken. I'm broken. But I will say there was, I don't, who Joyce Meyer is?
Sure
She,
do. Sure do.
okay. One of the things that she said when I used to watch her was, she said, we're all cracked pots because that way we can fix the cracks. And I think it's China or one of those countries where
Japan. It's
they
Japan.
put the gold in the cracks. So you end up with this beautiful pot where the cracks are all filled in with gold and it's beautiful. And that we're all cracked pots and we just have to work on our cracks and fill them up. That's all.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm done.
Okay. I think you did beautifully well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Um, I think it's called Kayagaski,
There's a
Japanese
name for it. Yeah, it's an art form, but
art.
I like that visual of
Yes.
we're all broken. We all have things to learn and things to we're
It
human.
it's Kintsugi, KINTSUGI. And what I will say, I just want to add this, and then we'll give Catherine a chance. I know she's very excited to share. um, this is where, when we start to heal where we feel broken, that we become more strong, more resilient. Like, 10, 15, 20 years ago, my kids putting me on ignore, not speaking to me I would have been on the floor for months endlessly.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't change. They're going through their
You're more
process. I'm
accepting
not trying to
and
control.
more good where you are. So, right. Yep.
Yeah, and hence this is why I took care of myself and brought myself here, because I am surrounded by friends. I needed community. I knew I did. So that's why I didn't stay there, because that would have been abusing myself,
Mhm.
to be abandoned by my family and then just be, residing in that. Why? It's like staying in an abusive marriage.
Right.
Same thing. Okay, Rebecca. Becca, thank you so much. I think you did a beautiful job.
Thank you.
Catherine, where would you
Okay.
like to begin?
All right, so that gave me a few moments to cogitate here.
Good.
And so I was the oldest of four daughters. My mother was extremely depressed. She was crying. She would hyperventilate and pass out. And then later, when I was in high school, she became an alcoholic. So she was never able to be present for any of us.
Mm.
My father worked a lot. He had his, pharmacist, had a pharmacy. And I discovered many years later that I was abused by my grandfather, who was also a pharmacist, so he had access to drugs. And he was a Mason. And when I would go visit the grandparents, I would be drugged and abused. And this happened between ages 2 and 8. And because I was drugged, I had absolutely no conscious memory of any of this. So, and I knew something was wrong. I didn't know what it was. And my sisters also experienced this. And yeah. And then when I was 19, my mother was killed in a auto accident. And I got a stepmother who was a narcissist. And yeah, so my pattern has been taking care of others, taking care of my younger sisters, taking care of my mother. I eventually, and there were some years where I just felt kind of lost. And then after a lot of part-time jobs, going to school part-time, just experimenting, and I decided to go to pharmacy school. And on a visit home after graduating, my father said, well, there's this pharmacist retiring. Why don't you just fill in for a while? Well, that ended up being 25 years. So I ended up running the pharmacy, being a consultant pharmacist, being the hospital pharmacist, all at the same time, extremely busy, working, 60 to 80 hours a week. And, taking care of the pharmacy and my father in a sense. And also not paying myself enough.
Oh, you didn't pay yourself.
Yeah, well, I probably should have had twice the salary that I got.
Ah,
So it didn't leave me in a good financial position.
mm,
And yeah, so, and I was given mercury to play with when I was a child. So
mm.
that, mercury poisoning. Yeah, I always got A's in school and all that. Except for high school when I had, what was that disease that, they called it the kissing disease anyway. I was
Mono.
mono, yeah. And I was out of school for several months and feeling really sick, and there my chemistry teacher gave me a D because I wasn't in class. Which was ironic because I went on and studied lots of chemistry.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. And
But maybe that D is what kind of was the catalyst for you to focus and work so hard.
well, not quite, not
No?
quite. But yeah, I thought about being an oceanographer at one point, or a marine biologist, but yeah, I ended up going in the family pattern, great grandfather, grandfather, father, myself.
Wow. Wow.
And
Five generations?
four. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And and there was never time, I had never had time or support in order to have, you know, a relationship and family and all that.
So you didn't marry?
I did marry early, got divorced. It wasn't a good fit, and married just before pharmacy school to an Ismaili Muslim. And
Ah,
yeah, the cultural patterns, we just talked about a lot of things, but the cultural patterns got in the way. Things were so ingrained that we didn't even know enough to talk about them. And so I decided, well, marriage isn't working. I'm just not going to do that anymore. And so I've been in a relationship for the last 12, 13 years. We're kind of housemates at this point.
I want to stop you.
Sure.
So what do you not talk about in this relationship?
Uh, being physical with each other, he decided just to stop, and I bring it up every once in a while, and we just don't get anywhere. Yeah, and
Have you asked if it's a physical issue? Because it could be a physical issue.
yeah, well, he thought that I wasn't enjoying being
Wow.
together. And it could be that he was noticing the abuse pattern that I wasn't even aware of at that point.
Mm, mhm.
So,
Okay. That makes sense.
yeah.
Have you talked to him about that?
Yeah, I've mentioned it to him, but it just feels like, yeah, and then I've been experiencing a lot of physical pain, and so that doesn't help me feel comfortable in my body. And yeah,
Okay.
so, and then Yeah, I did want to mention the B12 deficiency too,
Okay.
because when you did that infusion,
Yes.
one of the symptoms, I've been taking like 15 milligrams of B12 once I realized what it was, but it's not helping. But you did that infusion of B12. And so my tongue feels weird in my mouth. It feels thick and it hurts. That's one of the symptoms of B12 deficiency. Also, brain function, being able to organize paperwork. I've got boxes all over of papers I need to organize, and I just can't focus and get to it. I've been told I have ADHD, and I think it's the B12 deficiency is contributing to the mental confusion. And I've had headaches, which we mentioned last time, and yeah, a brain fog. And my dreams have been completely blocked, and also getting higher information. I used to get information, and that's totally blocked right now. And when you did that B12 infusion, my tongue felt normal.
Oh,
And also, I was aware of dreaming.
really?
Yeah, which hadn't happened for a long time, but that only lasted for one day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So just for a moment, I want to kind of just stop, just how are you feeling with sharing all of this? It's a big share.
Oh, I'm happy to share because I want to move forward and move beyond this. And if this helps in any way, shape, or form, I really want to do that.
Okay. All right. So did you have a period of feeling lost like Becca? You were the one that said that you felt lost, was it? Yes, you did.
Yeah, that was
Yes.
especially after, but after I left, when I was 17, I left home and I moved 1,200 miles away from Wisconsin to Florida, just to
Oh.
be away from the family system.
Mm,
And then, of course, when my mother was killed in the car accident, which I decided to move back to Wisconsin,
yeah.
got killed on the day that I arrived back in Wisconsin.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
So, and but luckily, she and the family had visited Florida,
Yeah.
rented a beach cottage, and I spent time with them before this happened. So I had some time, and
Was there alcohol involved in that accident with your mom?
no, I understand that she had dinner with her mother and was just driving back home. And
There's a thing that I just want to say to you. I can clear accidents, illness, Alzheimer's, and dementia. I can clear those things. What I've come to realize is that everyone has about 5 exit points in their
right,
life, and I can clear those so that we still can choose, when we want to go. Um, but that was an exit point for your mom, you know.
yeah. And I was told that it was just so difficult for her to exist on a daily basis that, basically she took it. So, and but yeah, through everyone in it, for 2 years I was basically non-functional.
I can
And
imagine. How old was she when she had the
she
accident?
she was born in 1932, and this was in 1972. So yeah, so she was like 39. She hadn't had her birthday yet.
Wow.
But you had three younger sisters?
Three younger sisters, and the youngest one was 12 at that time. So I again became the mother figure
Wow.
for them.
That's what I was thinking, that
Yeah.
you were old enough but too young,
Mhm.
but they were too young.
Yeah, yeah. It was very tough on them. Yeah.
But you take that on yourself. I
Yeah,
know, as you know, they were your little sisters, so
yeah, I took it on. Yeah. I mean,
it wasn't yours to take on. That's not what I was saying, but
yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Okay. So when we talk about shadow, the parts of us that are in the shadow are the things that we don't want to look at. Um, for me, part of that was disassociation. I disassociated during sex, didn't know I did. I glossed over emotions rather than feeling them, wouldn't even recognize or acknowledge, that I was being hurt. Those are just examples. Do you see when you look inside the parts that you've sort of kept closeted away from the world?
Yeah, I do. So, all right, so I'm going to mention two experiences I've had. One, as a child, I was sitting outside just appreciating everything, like the rocks and the moss and the grass and the sun and the leaves and birds and just everything, a little ant crawling through the grass, and intense appreciation for all of this. And I went into a state of oneness with everything. And then I went into a state of oneness with everything, like all the universes.
Wow.
And so I kind of carry that experience with me. The other thing, I had 3 weeks of what I called thought hell, because I was super aware. I was unable to be unaware of the multiple layers of thought and the multiple layers of emotions. And what I discovered was certain thought patterns could lead into certain emotional patterns, and certain emotional patterns could lead into certain thought patterns. And so it was an intense learning experience for me. But it did give me an awful lot of insight as to how these patterns worked and how to, stop these cycles.
So what did you learn to do?
Well, I learned to basically stop them, recognize them, and stop them, these circular thought feeling. So that was very helpful. And also 25 years
But
of,
how do you know that? Go ahead, finish that thought.
oh, and 25 years of working in the pharmacy. I used to call it to myself the people laboratory, because you'd have a constant flow of customers in all states of mind, working with the employees and to, get everything done, and in the medical community. And then here was another odd thing. When I was in the pharmacy, I was aware of a flame, like right here. And I saw this in everybody that walked in the door.
Wow.
And it reminded me that everyone is a spark of the creator. And so,
Where do you see it? Right here?
like right here.
Yeah, in the high heart.
Yeah, right up there. Yeah.
Okay. The thymus.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Yeah.
And then I would have some odd experiences, like I was talking to a gentleman and his wife about their prescription, and I knew that he would be dead in 6 months.
Oh,
And I was wrestling, well, what do I tell him? And, who's this for? Is this for me or, anyway. So I ended up not finding the words to say anything to him. And yeah, within 6 months, yeah, he passed away.
Wow.
So, you know, experiences that aren't in, I haven't run into other people with, these experiences yet, except maybe you. Okay. And yeah, so it gave me, I don't know, insight into the human condition, kind of. And
so do you see your partner? Do you see things about him?
yeah, yeah. He was yeah, in the Middle East. Well, he's a yoga practitioner.
Is he Muslim?
No, he is a good old American guy, but I see that he was trained in the martial arts, past lives, and that he studied Buddhism and all these in he's just a regular guy, except every once in a while he'll come out with these amazing bits of wisdom. Yeah. So I see that in his past lives. So
How do you know his past lives, if you don't mind my asking?
it's it's kind of a strong, overwhelming feeling or knowing of yeah, just being around him. Yeah.
So what Catherine is doing is she's channeling is an aspect of.
Yeah.
So you get information, it flows through you. Could be a download, it could be God speaking to her. I call it the voices in my head. Um, so getting information can come through packets. It comes in different ways. Sometimes it's a vision. Sometimes it's just this clear knowing that you have. And so yeah, I had the same thing with my ex-husband, where he asked me about a he had an abscess tooth, and he went to the dentist. He waited too long, um, and he asked me, was it cleared from the gum line? And I hadn't done this before, but I sent my energy forward, and I told him, I said that the prescription they've given you is like a shotgun approach, and it's not appropriate for what you have. You need to go to the dentist and tell them. So he calls the dentist, and the dentist office says, oh, whatever, what we gave you is fine. And within 2 months, he was dead.
Oh, no.
Oh my God.
Now, was it that, or was it a door opening? He told me, because he came to me that night and he said, a door just opened. I walked through. And 2 years later, I had the same experience where I was in the tunnel of light, and I thought they were just going to show me. And so when you're in the tunnel of light, there are two guides, not guys, and they are communicating through telepathy, not through words. And so when I'm thinking the thought, oh, they're just going to show me the other side, they the lovingness in the communication is so I guess the best way is, humans don't communicate in this way. There was no judgment. There was no, boy, is she stupid. There was like none of that. It was just, I knew that they weren't in agreement. And I said, well, I can't go. My daughter will be an orphan because her father just passed away 2 years ago. And so whoosh, I
Yep.
said, I'm not done. I'm not ready. So this is it. Free will. You don't have to go just because they're taking you. You could say, oh no, I want to stay. I'm not done yet.
So what percentage of people are aware of these choice times? I mean, not everybody must be aware because you don't hear about it that often.
It's almost 0%.
Yeah, that's
It's
yeah.
like a portion of 0.1%. It's a
I mean,
small.
I know it's there. When I was 15 years old, I was in yoga and did astral projection. So I know that I'm not my body.
Right.
And
Yes.
I've been in places where I've been very connected to people in the universe. I mean, in a general, big sense, but I can't sustain it. And sometimes I think that's why I'm so sad.
So I would caution you about what you say. So
I know
instead,
I don't say it right. Okay, go ahead.
so all I'm saying is that when we make a statement that's closed-ended,
Okay,
our body agrees to it. Instead, how can I sustain it? What do
right.
I need to do to sustain it? And I think dietary change is one of the key things, because you are, I'm going to just say it the way they said it. You're dumbing yourself down with your diet.
Okay.
Too many carbs and too much fat. So, so cut out half the carbs, because so I will just say this. I was not aware of this, but I watched a video recently, and this guy is named Quasi, young Indian guy, wonderful. He's a wonderful person. He shares a lot of really great information on YouTube. Anyway, he was doing this teaching video, and he was talking about how the powers that be keep us asleep. And the slave owners were feeding the slaves, this is way back when, a diet that was high in fat and high, rich in carbohydrates to dumb them down to make them compliant.
Okay. That's interesting.
So donuts, no.
I haven't
Sugary
had a donut
foods,
in 20. I'm
also.
diabetic. I've been diabetic for 18, 19 years, and I have controlled it with diet more than diet. I'd say diet and exercise, but I don't exercise
What,
anymore.
what do you eat? What do you eat for breakfast?
What do I eat for breakfast? Well, sometimes I have a protein shake. Sometimes I have a low carb pita with cream cheese and lox. Sometimes I just have crackers and cheese.
Kind
Um,
of crackers.
Low fat Triscuits or low fat wheat thins.
Okay.
I know, GMO.
So this is what I eat. I get them at Costco. I haven't been there in a while, but they are, as Homer Simpson would say, they're like eating a coaster.
Oh, is this Simple Mills?
I think so.
Yeah, that's what I eat. I eat the organic Simple Mills.
They're a
Simple Mills. Okay.
Yeah.
rice cracker. It's rice and flax and I don't know what else, but they're very crispy and they're tasty.
Okay.
So
Yes, the
any,
Simple Mills that
yeah.
I eat, they have almond flour, so they have protein,
Mhm.
more protein. Yeah.
Because I do want protein and I'm very, like I said, I haven't had a donut. I don't ice cream. Ice cream is my sweet ice cream and French fries. If I eat French fries, I do not eat bread. I do not, like as it is, I don't eat a lot of bread.
So,
I eat
I'm
more
gonna go back.
protein.
I'm gonna go back to the slaves.
Okay.
So the food, so it was high in fat, deep fried, right? And high in carbs. So a lot of breaded stuff. Like if you go to Popeyes, everything's breaded.
Yeah, I don't do that. Yep.
So just as an example.
Right.
And then that became soul food, right? It was what the slave owners fed them. So today, when we buy packaged ingredients, there's a long list of things. I just saw a post um, from RFK. Somebody reshared it that there is a thing that the FDA does. It's called GRAS or something, and basically they allow certain chemicals in food, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to crack down on the FDA.
It's really our food in this country is terrible.
Well,
Yeah.
they're trying to kill us, and they're doing a good job.
Yep. And certainly dumbing us down, that's for
So,
sure.
so the reason that I am thin, I don't buy processed foods. I cook for myself. I don't buy things in a package. I mean, those crackers are a rare thing, but I mean, I look at the ingredients. Um, I've been up us spark creation in the body that give us a release of endorphins, but it's and then a drop.
Right.
So then you want more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our food is made to
Yeah.
be
So
addictive.
cooking exactly high salt, high sugar. Okay,
And it's
so
not just the high sugar, it's
changing
the
our diet.
corn syrup too. I don't I, I don't drink sugar anymore. I used to
I
drink soda.
consume.
I miss my soda so bad, but I drink water or iced tea, unsweetened iced tea. 20 years, 18 years
Okay.
now.
Yeah. So back to the intuitive. Back to so. Kathy, can you share um, what helps you maintain this connection? Do you think?
Are you
Because I
talking?
think what you share will help that. Mhm.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. Did you?
um, yeah, so I don't drink, I don't smoke. I try to get a walk in every day. I watch my diet. Like you, I cook at home and Yeah, for my ice cream treat, we have homemade A2 yogurt. If I want a little sweet, I put a little organic maple syrup on it. So that's my treat.
That's what I use. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And yeah, or eat some blueberries or something. Yeah, haven't had sodas for years because it's hard on your bones. Besides all the other things. So yeah, so I watch my diet and
What about meditation? Do you meditate?
I yeah, I found Master John Douglas, so he has these energetically active meditations like spirit repair and soul repair.
Where'd you
Um,
find him?
if you type in Master Angels on the web, you'll find CMA Church of the Master Angels, and they have these yeah, CDs or MP3s for download. And they do have something called a bliss bundle, which is soul repair and subconscious repair. And they suggest doing soul repair daily and subconscious repair once a week. So yeah, so that's what I've been doing for meditation. And
I don't meditate enough. I don't meditate at all right now, and I need to. I have
So,
so many great things to listen to, but I don't.
okay. What about television, Becca?
I don't watch I don't I have been watching more television, but I don't want didn't haven't been watching a lot of television for a long time. I play an online game called Second Life. They call it a game. It's not a game. It's a video world. You have an avatar and uh, you can create things and meet people from all over the world and the people are real, but we're avatars. I've made some really good friends there. Um, and for 7 years we had a music club, and so we had live singers and DJs and organizing schedules and working with people, and I was busy every day even though I thought I was retired, but I wasn't. And a friend of ours died of cancer, so that closed like a year ago. And so this past year has been really kind of tough because I can't seem to figure out where I want to be. I also dance on Second Life. I was in a dance company for a while and then that stopped, and then I did this music club, and now I've joined another dance company on Second Life where we put together dances and practices and then shows. So
Okay. All right. So I want to address depression. Um,
I also have tinnitus in one ear, which I've had now for, oh dear Lord, 26 years.
okay.
There was one person, and I can't even remember who it was. There was one time on one of the U Wealth energy things, and my tinnitus actually stopped for 2 hours and had stopped before in 26 years. So that was like, it's like it's quiet.
Okay. So I want to tell you the tinnitus and you not being able to hear are connected.
I've always felt like I can't hear.
You have a refusal to listen.
I know God didn't close the door. I know it's me.
It's not hearing the inner voice and stubbornness.
Yeah,
So,
both of those. Yeah.
so it's I want, but I don't want to do it. I want it, but I'm
Oh
afraid.
yeah. If it's hard, if it I that when I said I was a quick little kid, things came easy to me, things come easy to me. If they're hard or they're going to take a lot of focus and a lot of work, then I don't want to be bothered. In college, I got B's and C's. I certainly could have gotten A's, but I put through enough effort to be where I was happy to be, and
All
no
right.
more.
So I want to address two things for you, and then I want to address something for Catherine.
Okay.
So the tinnitus is um, refusal to listen, not hearing the inner voice, and stubbornness. All right,
Does
so
it matter that it's on one side, not both? Because that's unusual.
doesn't matter.
Okay. Just was a
Yeah,
curious question.
doesn't matter. So I trust my higher self. My information usually comes to the right ear. So,
That's the one that's ringing.
okay. All right. I trust my higher self. Repeat it.
I trust my higher self.
I listen with love to my inner voice.
I listen with love to my inner voice.
I release all that is unlike
I release all that is unlike
the action of love.
the action of love.
I'll send you that in an email.
Okay, and I'll have the replay of this too.
Yes. So doing that 3, 4 times a day, every single day. And of course I can do a clearing for it too. I'll clear stubbornness, that, but let
I
me,
think my sister always called me Becca, 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 and I can see her. She stomps her feet. I'm not gonna do that. My little Becca, Becca, she's the most stubborn little person inside me that you ever met.
so I'm going to tell you something. It's not funny, Becca.
No, I love her. But she's,
So
yeah,
what I want to say to you is stubbornness as a child is when there's trauma, when there's, difficulties. This is what my guide said to me. Being stubborn as a child is a protective device. As an adult, it's belligerence. It helps you not.
I don't know. I don't remember problems in my child. I used to hold my breath till I passed out when I was 2.
Well, there you go.
And I have no memory of that. My mother tells me. She went to the doctor. She was freaked out. And he said, when she falls down, she'll start breathing. Breathing is an automatic thing. Just make sure she doesn't hit her head.
Yeah. So part of it's laziness. And so if I didn't do the hard things, I would not be here right now. I wouldn't be in
Right.
California right now. It was not easy. It was really hard because I was seeing 3 clients a day and then going to work at Costco 5 to 10
I know. You were
up
working.
until 2 days before the moving truck came. My neighbor shows up. He goes, I knew you wouldn't be ready. I knew you wouldn't be prepared. I was like, shut the fuck up. I've been working my ass off.
Yeah.
Do not judge me. I did the best I could. I needed the money to get here.
Right.
It was expensive. I've spent over 3 grand. Um,
Moving is expensive.
it is,
Yes.
yeah. So this is what I just want you to hear me and just
Okay.
be kind to yourself.
Mm.
Stubbornness isn't helping me.
No, stubbornness isn't helping me.
Yeah, how could I be um how could I forgive myself for
Uh,
harming myself and creating this tinnitus or tinnitus, however you want to call it.
Okay.
So I'd like to go through because this is good for everybody. Um, Forgiveness for being harsh, forgiveness for judging yourself, forgiveness for self-abuse, forgiveness for not forgiving yourself, forgiveness for whatever, because unforgiveness keeps our heart frozen. And opening our heart, softening our heart, it's the way to go. It's
Okay.
how we connect with our divinity. All right, so I like to do it this way, cross my arms across my chest. We're all going to do this together. So I want you to connect with your inner child. See yourself at about age 2, maybe 3. If you can't remember what you look like, maybe a photograph of you connecting to that little inner child. Take a nice deep breath. We're forgiving ourselves. And see your little inner child. And let's repeat this together. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Please forgive me.
Please
Please
forgive.
forgive me.
I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
You take a nice deep breath. This is not to be harsh. This is being gentle. This is letting go of the burden. Okay, we're letting go of the burden. Okay, another nice deep breath. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Please forgive me.
Please forgive
Forgive me.
me.
I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now see yourself um, and your little inner child becoming one, so that the two of you are infused with one another. You become one. You and your inner child are in unity. You might have felt something in your belly, little something there, warmth. And let her know you'll never abandon her again. The way we abandon our inner child is by being mean to ourselves, by not allowing ourselves to play, by not allowing ourselves to feel deeply, by judging ourselves, by critical thoughts, berating thoughts. So now you can tell your inner child, you can do this silently or you can do it out loud, however you wish. What would you like me to do to show you I will never abandon you again? What can I do to show you how much I love you? So I want to tell you this, that um, Spirit called my name when I was 21, but it took me a long time to come around. I think I was 32 when I started my healing journey. So that was almost 10 years. But even on my healing journey, it took me into my 2011, 2001, before maybe 2002, where I kept going into my barn and seeing a halo around the tool that I needed to finish a landscape project. I was a Georgia master gardener and I had a landscape business for Heavenscapes. And I'd go into my barn and there would be a tool would have a halo around it. And I'd go, I don't need that tool today. I'd argue with the message. What do you call that? It's stubbornness.
Mhm.
That you're wrong, I'm right. That's what it is. You're wrong, I'm right. What happened? It took me about 10 times, maybe more. And my spirit's saying no, it was more than 10, where I would go in, the tool, whether it was a rake or a tarp or whatever, would machete, let's say, was lit up with this halo. And I would say, no, I don't need that today. And I would be in the middle of the job and go, oh, why didn't I listen? Because the very tool I needed was that very one that they had highlighted. It went on and on and on until finally I was like, okay, Uncle, you're always right. The message is always right. So when we are used to being lied to by the media, by people on social media, husbands, lovers, brothers, friends, kids lying to us, we're so used to lies that when something is true and real, we reject it.
Yeah, or uncomfortable or hard. You say change, work on your diet, and I just want to run in the other direction and go, oh, I already do
I mean,
that.
if you want something different, let me just, I'm going to go back. When the pain becomes too great, you will finally do the hard things to get you to the place of joy. That's what I did. My life was a shit show. My relationships were a mess. I was miserable. I was depressed. I had anxiety. And I knew there was something better waiting for me. I knew.
Hmm.
From the time I was 16, I sat in the cafeteria in the high school looking around going, I know there's more to life than just getting an education, getting married, and having kids. I know there's more to life than this. And
Right.
so you can continue to do what you're doing and remain where you've always been, or do the hard things. You can choose. You have free will. But I will promise you, your health will improve. Your life
Well, I
will.
know. Yep, I know.
But I'm not saying it's easy. That's
No.
why I sent that email out. Because people come to me all the time. They want the IV drip. Give it to me here, right here. That's not how it works.
My mother keeps telling me, you're looking for a magic pill. There is no magic pill.
Being on antidepressants for 42 years, it's obvious that is not the way.
No.
So, depression is caused by anger, suppressed anger that we feel we don't have a right to have. And I clear it in almost every clearing I do. So I'm going to do it again, but I want to read to you something. Hang on one sec. Depression can become a habit, it can become habitual. And of course, the other thing is that we become married to it. My depression. And then we make excuses for, like, well, I can't do that because I'm depressed. I can't do that because I'm depressed. I can't do that because I'm depressed. And then it becomes this moniker that you have on your forehead. I'm a victim. I'm a victim of depression. And then you have an excuse. So these excuses, and this gentleman that was going to join us, he has demons. There's demons in my computer. There's demons in my phone. There's demons in the toilet. I said, explain to me the demons in the toilet. He goes, well, they're blocking the toilet. I said, no, you need to flush in between. If you were doing a big dump in the toilet, you don't sit there and wait till it's all done and then blame a demon. It's your fault that you have a blocked toilet, not a demon.
Right.
I said, you are choosing to blame a demon rather than take responsibility for where you're at. So he said, you're not going to help me. So no, I'm not coming.
Yep.
He doesn't want to do the work. A lot of people don't want to be bothered. That's why I wrote the story. That's what I did. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on my healing because divorces and gotten out of marriages that were bad rather than staying in a marriage that wasn't going to be aligned with where I needed to go. I was what do you call it? Not sideshow. Um, eye candy. I was the eye candy for my husband.
Oh dear.
You know. Mm.
No value.
No, no. Okay. So I want to say depression can be triggered by disruption of schedules, overwork, family and other relationship problems, chemical imbalance, which I can clear as well. And I also want to download, this is for Catherine, I want to download an infusion of B12.
Yeah.
That'll help me too, I'm sure.
Download an infusion to all of us of B12. Thank you. Um, all right. So, but it also can be from past lives. And and of course, here's the thing, it can be a habit which can become so strong, like any other habit, it takes willpower and it takes dedication to break the habit. And moving is one thing, changing the diet is another, changing the thoughts, because Catherine was mentioning how she noticed certain thoughts created emotional patterns, which then created more thoughts, which then took her down a rabbit hole of making her feel bad. And
Yeah,
so,
I'm more secure with facts than I am with emotions. I tend to either rationalize them or ignore them. So I don't go through them. And that's a problem that I have too.
yeah, you have to process them. Well, and it's easier to take a pill than work on yourself. So I'll tell you a little story. I had been divorced. I had been depressed for over 3 decades. I didn't realize it because I was so used to that feeling until my marriage to Bill Gates was ending and he was being violent. And not Microsoft Bill Gates, but a Bill Gates nonetheless. Anyway, my doctor put me on Prozac, and I was working at GTE in Atlanta, and I would drive on the Beltway to get there. And I'd done this trip, I don't know, hundreds of times, home and back, home and back. Well, this particular day, I was on my way to work, and I don't know if I fell asleep at the wheel, but it was a zombie. I went 3 exits past my exit, and I was like, how did I get here? That scared the crap out of me. I got to the office. I called the doctor. I said, I'm going off this Prozac. He said, no, you can't. I said, I'm going off the Prozac right now because I don't want to kill myself on the road. I have kids.
Right.
So that's what I did. I did it cold turkey. But I will tell you, Prozac numbed me out to make me a zombie. I didn't want to be a zombie.
Yeah, I've been on different ones because I had to get off when I had my kids. So, different things, and then they stop working and then they try something else. So, partly what I'm on now is more for the fibromyalgia, but we're working on clearing that too. So,
As a pharmacist, do you mind if I ask which medication it is?
right now I'm on Cymbalta.
Okay.
One time they put me on something and I can't remember the name of it, but I was having high anxiety and it felt like they had wrapped me in cotton batting, which
Well,
felt so good. But I had 2 little kids at home and nothing bothered me. So I knew that was wrong. When they put me on Prozac, I was like a train on a track and I was getting so much done and I was totally productive. But again, 2 little kids at home. I said, this is great if I'm a type A personality and just in a couple or single or whatever, but my kids are in my way. It was like I had a cow catcher on the front and I was just, so they all do different things and, some work and some don't. And over the years, your body changes too. Now I'm in menopause. At least I don't have that cycle up down. But yeah, I'm on the Cymbalta. It was working for depression. Now it helps with the fibromyalgia pain, but I don't think it's working much for anything at this point,
so I will
which
tell
is
you the fastest way to fix fibromyalgia is self-love.
okay.
Because when I that went so I there were a couple of things that I did to heal myself. One was the Louise Hay, you can heal your life, and I still reference the mantras. Every time I got sick, I would use I would use a mantra, and I would do it religiously 3 times a day. And I know somebody who healed Lou Gehrig's disease.
Well,
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yes.
I used to go, I've been to a couple of the Hay House summits, actually saw Wayne Dyer.
Mhm.
Um, there's an Indian woman who was on death's door,
Yeah.
had near death experience, wrote a book. I saw her speak. She came back. They expected her to die, and she's writing books and doing talk. She didn't
Well,
want to die. She came back.
she didn't heal herself. She did the chemo and radiation. Yeah. When you first hear the story, it sounds like she did it all by herself. No, she did not. She did the chemotherapy and radiation to heal herself. But yeah, she's writing books. So I just want to clarify
Hmm.
how how it happened. Okay, depression. Um, I have to mention this dementia. Because it's always been my belief that people that haven't dealt with their stuff when they get old, they tune out. It's like a disassociation. That's what dementia is. It's a
I totally understand people living in the past because I can actually take my mind and put myself into the past as if it's real, as if it's here now, real today. And I have to be careful with that because that's not where I am today, but I can do that.
So depression, here's the mantra for depression. I now go
I now go
beyond other people's fears
beyond other people's fears
and limitations.
and limitations.
I create my life.
I create my life.
All right. And diabetes, this moment is filled with joy.
This moment is filled with joy.
I now choose
I now choose
to experience the sweetness of today.
to experience the sweetness of today.
All right. So we've got 15 minutes left. Catherine, um, what do you need some help with?
Yeah, this pain, I mentioned the pain in the chest, that would be one thing. And then you mentioned the dementia. My father passed away of normotensive hydrocephalus, which there was an anomaly at the base of his brain. And in his later years, he lost the use of his legs, bowel, and bladder, and got dementia. And so and I would like to clear any tendency towards that, any familial or ancestral tendency towards that.
So, so one of the things that I know works is that's not part of my reality.
Yeah,
My
that's not
Mhm.
part of my reality.
My father got leukemia, and I was questioned because I had heard so much about um, well, DNA, and if your father had this or your mother, because they ask you, doctors will say, well, is there any history of breast cancer? Is there any history of this? And what I will say is, and Bruce Lipton is the one that, I knew this before I
Yeah,
heard it from him.
yeah.
But just because a family member had something doesn't mean that you do. And so that's what I did with leukemia. It's like, nope, I don't want leukemia. Nope. And so um, Alzheimer's, she's got it in here too. Yeah, yeah. The same Alzheimer's, a refusal to deal with the world as it is, hopelessness and helplessness and anger. All right, so here's the mantra for that one. There is always a new and better way
There is always a new and better way
for me to experience life.
for me to experience life.
I forgive and release the past.
I forgive and release the past.
I move into joy.
I move into joy.
Um, no matter what happened back then, no matter what it was, we have to start seeing it for our betterment and for our good, that whatever happened then, however traumatic it was the catalyst for your growth.
Yeah.
And when we see it that way, that is what I needed to kickstart me into focusing on moving into joy, gravitating towards joy, doing things that make me happy, thinking about things that make me happy. Like I said, if I stayed in Colorado while my kids are, basically abusing me, then I likely would have gotten sick and died. And
Yeah,
it's like, no, you know what I mean?
yeah, I call this flipping the coin. You know,
Yes.
you have a very difficult situation and you find the lessons in that situation. And so that turns out to be a blessing in a sense.
Yeah. So my prayer was, how can I make this move to California without guilt? And then all this happened. I was like, okay, I asked for this,
There you go.
right?
Yeah,
Right. And so then I did a live video on TikTok, and I said, just be careful what you wish for
right.
because you'll get it. Yeah. So here's the other thing. I'm going to send you a Greg Braden video. He was in Milan. He was teaching to, I don't know how many people there were. I think maybe 1,000. So he's teaching the lost Gospel of Thomas. And I feel like it would help you because he talks about manifestation and the ask and receive as it was originally written in the Bible. I've always maintained that the Bible was changed by man
Hmm.
to keep us in the dark, to keep us from evolving. So I never bought the Bible hook, line, and sinker. I knew some aspects were true, but a lot of it was tainted and changed. So he talks about, I hang on a second, I gotta find where's that I wrote this. I have so many books going all at once here. So I took notes about it.
He's wonderful too. I saw him speak.
Who?
Greg Braden.
He's a little guy. He's like 5'5".
No, he doesn't look that little on stage, but okay. I
He,
believe you.
he's not much taller than me,
Yeah.
but he does his hair like he puffs
Yeah.
it up so that it gives him 3 inches on top of it. He's very
Yeah, I went to two I can do it like 2 or 3 day thing, Hay House. Um, I don't know, all day speakers and stuff. In New York City, I did that twice.
I know it's right here. Hang on, here's the book. After I walked all the way over there, it's not there at all. It's right here. Okay. All right. So we must feel as if our prayers have been answered. So when we come to God in prayer, we ask and we must feel that our prayers are answered. Verse, it's 106, it's the Nag Hammadi library. So when you make the two, thought and emotion, one, you will say to the mountain, move away, and the mountain will move away. Thought and feeling unified into one.
Is that kind of what you were talking about, Catherine? When you
Yeah,
said you,
yeah, yeah. I always thought of thought and emotion as two aspects of the kind of our engine of creation. And I have a short story about that. I was in a group, we met once a week. And this was the last meeting of the group. And we were in a drought here. Everything was brown and crispy. It hadn't rained for over a month. And Greg Braden, I'd read a line in his book. He said, the shaman doesn't pray for rain, the shaman prays rain. So I knew we had this heart connection in the group. I asked everybody to hold hands, thumbs to the left, and to use all of their senses to experience rain, smell it, feel it, see it, imagine walking through puddles and just all these different aspects with the intent, and so I started feeling energy moving around the circle, and it picked up speed and went faster and faster. And then another ring of energy popped up. So there were two rings of energy moving around, and they went faster and faster. And at a certain point, they went whoosh, out in all directions. And it started to rain.
wow.
Not that day, but within about 2 days, we had all these unscheduled rainstorms and unforecast. So
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
yeah.
So when you make the two one in our hearts, we make the feeling. That's the feeling. So then again, verse 48, if the two make peace with each other in this one house, in our house, that's you, they will say to the mountain, move away, and the mountain will move away. So this thing with me moving to California, I just use it as an example. I, thought and feeling. Yes, I decided. Yes, I want to be in California. Yes, it brings my heart joy. Yes. And so the two were one. And I got this message. There was this eagle on the lawn of my friend's house, and nobody else was home, so I knew it was for me. And I heard in my head, I've got you. I've got you. And then
Yeah.
I got home, and 9 days later, Amy calls me and says, I've got a place for you. I
Wow.
had exactly the amount that I wanted to pay. I never told her how much I wanted to pay. See, God works through people to make things happen.
Yeah.
So ask and you shall receive. The asking is not done with the voice, it's done with the heart. So we must speak to the field, the field of creation, and the language the field recognizes is emotion. It's that magnetic, and our hearts are 1,000 times more magnetic than our brains. So
Yeah, that's what Greg was saying. Yeah, that's why we pray with our hands. We pull our thoughts down to our heart
yeah.
because that's where the power is.
Well, also bowing your head quiets the mind. So in the King James Version, it's edited. And it is, what so even you ask the Father in my name, he will give it to you. Kind of took the power out of it, didn't it? There's no
Yep.
power in there. So ask and your joy may be full. That was the original. Ask and your joy may be full. I was ecstatic when I was in yes, I want to be here. I went to the beach 4 times. I, took pictures of my dog and myself. And so all things you ask directly in my name, so far you have not done this. So ask without hidden motivation and be surrounded by your answer. Be enveloped by the feeling that it has already happened. And when the thought and emotion become one, ask without hidden motive, without judgment, right or wrong, without ego, from the heart, and be surrounded with that feeling as if. So you must make your future dream by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Don't judge the cancer, accept it. So this was that they did this thing where they did that wassa, 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 already done, and they healed that woman's tumor.
Mm-hmm.
And so it happens in our hearts, not in our minds. So knowing that, I feel like we are complete. I have cleared depression. I've given you a download of vitamin B12. I hope that you received what you needed today.
And come on, well, I maybe, well, we'll see. I'll see you Wednesday, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
All right, to both of you, thank you so much
Thank you.
for
Thank
being
you,
here. I'll
Jennifer.
see you Wednesday. And if you have anything you'd like to add, you can send me an email afterwards. If something you want to include next time, let me know.
All right. Thank you,
Bless
Catherine.
you both.
Too.
All right.
Thank
Bye.
you, Jennifer.